The multi-touch zoom on this leaves something to be desired. Like, if I do a little bit of pinching like this, I get nothing. But then, like, right at the end, it zooms in all the way on that guy's wheel. That's kind of weird. Like, watch. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out. Okay, watch. I'm pinching, I'm pinching, I'm pinching, I'm not zooming, and then like it immediately zooms all the way in on his wheel. Okay. I gotta say, pinch to zoom for let's say zooming in on the YouTube using a Pixel 6 camera with the YouTube app. Oh man, it's bad. I honestly I feel like I'm getting older each day because I become more of a curmudgeon with this whole things used to be better thing. So like back in the day, the method for solving this was if you had 2 or 3 different cameras on a phone, you could flip through them all. But now what they've started to do is instead of having a button that allows you to flip through the 3 different cameras like normal, wide, ultra wide, they say, no, we're just going to have it automatically switch while you're pinching to zoom. So this way the end user doesn't even feel like he has 3 different lenses. It's just one lens that magically does everything. And we're going to automatically choose for you which lens you should use. But as with most things in modern tech, where the technology seeks to make the decision for you rather than allow you to make it yourself, it sucks balls. It's like I could see somebody thinking, we're going to make this more elegant. It's going to be so much more elegant as a result of the user not having to, get his hands dirty and figure out which camera he wants to use himself. We're going to automatically do it. It's like, yeah, but no, it sucks. It fucking sucks. Let me choose the camera I want myself, you fuck. Let me do that myself. I'm telling you, like with each passing day, it's like you're too stupid. You're too stupid to choose which camera you want on your phone for whatever particular zoom level. We'll do that for you. You're too stupid to come up with your own decisions on what it is. You're too stupid to make your own decisions. You're too stupid to vote for who you should vote for. You're too stupid to understand any issue. Let us show you the news sources that are actually correct and censor everybody else. It's just, I don't know. It's weird because it's like, it's a small, I know this sounds ridiculous. And I know I'm probably getting a little like, off topic here, but it's like, it's this small microcosm of what's happening in the rest of the greater society. Like the camera lens thing is really, I don't just see it as a camera lens thing. I see it as a canary in the coal mine for what's to come. Like, this is not something that's just limited to political speech. It's not something that's just limited to right to repair. This whole general concept of like, we're going to dumb shit down for people as much as possible and take away control over all these little things at every fucking venue. At every single point. We're going to take away just a little bit more control. Just a little bit more control. You're too stupid to figure out which news source to listen to. Let us choose that shit for you. You're too stupid to fact check things on your own. Let us fact check for you. You're too stupid to know who to vote for. Let us tell you. It's just, and you're too stupid to manually choose the camera that you want. You used to be able to choose which camera. On a Samsung S10e, you could scroll between wide angle and normal in a YouTube streaming app. On this one, zoom. We'll figure it out for you. And the problem is the way they figure it out for you sucks. It's very, and like you see like how it jumps forward with the tiniest little pinch of zoom. The tiniest little pinch of zoom. I know somebody's out there is thinking to themselves, I've made this more slick. It's more iPhone-like. I've taken a choice away from the user. It's just, and like somebody out there actually patted themselves in the back over that, I bet you. Like, the phone is going to automatically choose the proper lens. I mean, it's going to choose the proper camera, normal, wide, or ultra wide, based on your zoom level. We have taken away a decision that you would have to make. The phone is now smarter. I don't think so. I don't think so. I like having choices. I like having control over my shit. It's just so weird that like this shit it's in everything. It's prevalent in everything. Cars, laptops, cell phones, operating systems, storage. I used to be able to choose the amount of storage. I used to be able to choose where I store my shit. Now I'm supposed to keep it on a fucking cloud that you can search through. That you can index shit from. And fucking report me to the goddamn police because I took a picture of my son for the doctor. It's just... I try not to get too brain dead populist with it because I realize that I have an affinity for brain dead populism. I do have a bit of an affinity for brain dead populism at times. Everybody has their weaknesses, you know? But goddamn, if it doesn't just seem like a trend. Just dumbing shit down and dumbing shit down and dumbing shit down in the name of convenience. Taking away a little bit of the control that you used to have over something every step of the way. And that's where I think that, like, it's a philosophy. It's not like some centralized evil conspiracy, you know? Because if it was a centralized evil conspiracy, then it wouldn't be so prevalent everywhere in things that just don't fucking matter. Because in something like a camera app, like, how much does that really matter? Like, you know, that's not going to change the course of society. That's not going to change whether people get vaccinated. That's not going to change who gets elected. That's not going to change voting rights. That's not going to change Roe versus Wade. That's not going to change immigration. That's not going to change Federal Reserve interest rate policy. That's not going to change how police unions are dealt with and how police are prosecuted in cases where there's a question as to whether or not the amount of force they used is proper. This is really not something that has anything to do with a hot button issue. It's just that's what makes it so interesting to me. It's such a small thing. It's something that's completely and utterly inconsequential to anything in society. So it can't really be said that there's a conspiracy involved in doing it, because it's just like who would benefit from this conspiracy? It's not it's not a conspiracy. It's just a small thing that is indicative of our overall philosophy, our general overall philosophy that we have, that is permeated everywhere. And if you ask a question, if you say, hey, you used to be able to choose what storage I plug into my phone. I kind of would like to still do that. Why do you care? Why don't you just use the cloud? Why don't you just let them handle it for you? Why don't you just pay them? Why don't you just why don't you just get a Bluetooth headphone? Well, I mean, I could have had a Bluetooth headphone before, but I want to have the wired one too. Why do you want that? Why do you want choice? Why do you want choice? Choice is bad. Let us make the decisions for you. I want to be able to choose which camera I use. I want to choose which camera I use in my phone myself, rather than an algorithm do it. It's basing it off of how I pinch to zoom. Why would you want to do that? Trust the device to do it for you. I will do it better myself, thank you very much. It's not even that it tries to do it for you, it's the removal of a choice that used to exist. So many things in life, it's a removal of a choice that used to exist. It's always a removal of a choice that used to exist, you know? Used to have used to be able to choose whether to get a schematic for your product, buy a part and be able to fix it yourself, have an independent technician do it, or go to the manufacturer. Now it's go to the manufacturer. Used to be able to get the schematic. Now it's can't get that either. Used to have some level of access to your car's computer and parts. You used to be able to post what you wanted to post on the internet. Can anybody imagine censoring of a Usenet news group to the level that we have on Facebook today in 1997? Not really. Probably not. That wasn't a thing. That wasn't a thing. But it is now. There's a lot of things that are a thing now. Can you imagine keeping your personal data on a server where the files are scanned and looked through, instead of keeping it on your own computer to the point where it actually gets reported when it was a photo that was sent to a doctor because your son had a medical issue? Oh, don't worry about that. Oh, you want a gigabyte of free storage? Yeah, we'll give you that. We just want to be able to read through all of your email all the time. The amount of shit that we gave up to have convenience for free. The amount of freedom that we gave up is priceless. Oh, dude, I was an editor on Newsbin when I was 14 years old, Daniel Young. Usenet wasn't only used for piracy now. It was pretty much like before I hit puberty, Usenet was mostly piracy. The world. Dun 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 dun. Oh my God! Look at that guy's bumper. Ouch! He got rear-ended good. I feel bad for him. Getting rear-ended is very rarely the fault of the driver. It can be, but it's usually considered the fault of the person behind. There's always something that the guy in the front could have done, like to contribute to it. But the way that dude's bumper looked at my 11 o'clock, like he got fucked by somebody that doesn't know how to drive, most likely. Most likely, to be clear. What bumper? This bumper. Oh, pinch to zoom, you piece of shit. Yeah, this thing can't pinch to zoom for shit. Okay, you probably can't see. Yeah, you can't see. It's being blocked by the gray car over there. Oh well. Pinch to zoom is so fucking bad on this. Jesus Christ. It was probably better on the original goddamn iPhone. It was probably better on the original iPhone. Yo, man. I took a break. I went out with to see a few friends. I wasn't able to stay long because I want to finish unpacking stuff and putting stuff together and everything. But it was good to spend just a half hour with some familiar faces and some new faces. I didn't want to. So last Friday and Saturday night, I did not go out. I didn't want to be a curmudgeon for 2 nights in a row. I figured for 2 nights in a row, that's kind of a little much. You shouldn't blow off people that you know. I want to be better at maintaining my friendships as I get older. It's too easy for all the time in the world to go by. Sometimes I kind of wonder what my 30s are going to be like. The rest of it, 30s and 40s. I think a lot of it is just going to be trying to undo this shit in every part of our society. Like, undo this whole bullshit where you don't own your stuff, where you don't control your stuff. I want to put an honest effort into it. Like, right to repair was really just a tiny canary in the coal mine. And my entirety of my 20s was spent hyper-focused on a really small thing. But in reality, man, that was... I'm kind of curious how this mic sounded, by the way. I'm going to listen to the stream when I'm done. I want to see how it sounded in the car compared to my other. So the other microphone I have is a shotgun microphone. So the shotgun microphone that I have, that microphone sits on the phone. This is a lavalier microphone, but it's also a condenser. Because it's a condenser microphone and not a dynamic, you tend to get a little bit more detail. The problem with condenser microphones, although unfortunately, is you get more detail, but you'll also get more sibilance. It'll also, if you have reverberation around you, you're gonna tell that you're in not reverberation. I should say early reflections. If you have early reflections around you, it'll pick that up a lot easier. You'll still hear it at dynamic, but no, that's fine. My philosophy is I am the warranty. Yes. I like Austin. Pros and cons, Austin versus New York City. I don't live my life with a list. I don't like lists. I'm not a list person. I don't do stuff like, I don't distill life down to a list. Distilling life down to a list is very cheap. If it was the shotgun mic I had earlier, it had more dynamic range, low noise, no muddiness. I haven't used the shotgun mic today. So when I was building the shelf, that was different. I was using a $650 DPA 4066, but I can plug that directly into my phone. It needs a preamp and plug power and all this other shit. This one's made for an Android phone pretty much, so it has, I don't know, it has all that shit built into it, and it's just a little USB-C device. Gotta get a goddamn garage opener. I can't believe I do this bullshit every time I go inside. I park my car. I go into my house. I open the garage door. I go back outside. I bring my car inside. Like a fucking schmuck. I got 2 more shelves to build, 3 or 4 racks, 1 filing cabinet. I think it's 1 or 2 filing cabinets, I forget. And then I will be able to start unpacking my stuff. I'm not allowed to unpack my shit until I have all of my shelves out. I'm not going to have things all over the place like they were before. One of the things I remember saying in the other video I did is I realized that for several years I didn't even bother unpacking my things. And a lot of people said, well, no, those weren't really important to you. They were not important to you if you didn't do that. It's like, no, they were. It's just I never made time for any of it. I made time for a lot of shit that was important. Like my late teenage years and early 20s, and mid 20s, I would say, I really did not value my life as much as I should. Ugh. Like I remember sitting up with Erica and she'd want to do something or she'd want to watch something with me and I'd be fucking responding to Fresh Desk tickets. I would be responding to Fresh Desk tickets at like 1 in the morning because I thought if anybody else responds to this before me, I will not get that business. And if I don't get that business, I will lose money. If I lose that money, I won't be able to expand and blah, 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 blah. A part of me is actually glad. Maybe this is just cope. It's possible this is just cope. Please do call me out on this if you think it's cope. Like a part of me is almost glad that like the Eugene thing happened. And then like the combination of like Eugening and then COVID at the same time that I moved to a place that cost 3 times as much money. Because like I think I needed that to happen. I needed all that shit to happen for me to finally realize like there's no point to all of this. You can do everything, quote, right, and still get fucked. And then have nothing to show for it. Like, you know, I think that kind of gave me what I needed to slow down. Catch the... Smell the rainbows. Look at the... Wait, you don't smell rainbows. I guess if you do enough acid, you could smell rainbows. I notice there's a lot of people that do acid and also shrooms in Austin. I haven't partook. That stuff's not for me. No judgment if you do it, but it's not for me. Okay, you were in my pocket. You all were in my pocket, weren't you? Yes, you were. That's my little microphone over here. Love this thing. Not cope, reevaluation of your life. Yeah, because like something tells me if I did that move and I wound up getting 3 times the clients and I got an entire school district to be my client and I got a giant recycling fund company to be my client, and after I did the move, 3 years later I was worth $3 million or $2 million, I don't think I would look back on it and say, man, I really should have taken time to slow down. I think I'd tell myself, oh yeah, that was a good move. I think I'm doing this as a way to, sometimes I wonder, like, am I saying that for real, or am I saying that because, am I saying that, you know, to make myself feel better? My shelf video, what happened to it? Got censored. No, I deleted it. You finally put a bed to sleep in. Yeah, I just haven't made it yet. Check it out. So this is where this was where that piece of shit air mattress from Walmart was before. Let's see, how do I zoom into zoom out? By the way, this really does fucking suck. Like, look at how unstable the zooming is. Like, I want to zoom, nothing, nothing, nothing. Okay, now it's like ultra zoom. What the fuck? This is really, really annoying. I'll just leave it zoomed out, fuck it. Yeah, I have to put sheets in here. This is going to be my bedroom. Check it out. I got a mattress to sleep on. Actually, there used to be a pad over there, so I think, did that get thrown away? Who the fuck knows? There's so much shit here. Okay, so I guess casualty number 1 of moving. Mattress pad. Rip. That thing was kind of in shit condition anyways. It was pretty deplorable, the condition that it was in. I think they may have looked at it and thought, this is probably garbage. There's no way that... So I'm going to get myself one of those memory foam things that goes over the mattress. Because I used to have a pad over it. I think you may have a volume issue. A volume issue? You mean like I didn't move enough stuff at the time? How come in the cat video a week ago you were using Windows? Because Linux doesn't work properly on a framework if you want to use DaVinci Resolve. So DaVinci Resolve is a video editor. It works in Windows whether you have an Intel Iris GPU or whether you have an AMD or an NVIDIA GPU. However, in Linux, DaVinci Resolve will only work if you have an NVIDIA or AMD GPU. Now, framework offers you, this is one of the things that Harpo said at Fudo. He was saying, it's funny how little freedom there is when you care about tech freedom. And he's very black-pilled, but he also has this really dark sense of humor, which I appreciate very much. And the point he was making is that I said, if you want to buy a laptop where you can get a schematic, and they'll actually give it to you, and they'll sell parts, you have several choices. You can get an Ultrabook with an integrated GPU, or you can get an Ultrabook processor with an integrated GPU, or you can get an Ultrabook processor with an integrated GPU. So if you use a framework, then I can't use Linux with DaVinci Resolve. Now, some of you may say, well, why don't you just use Kdenlive? Because I'd rather jump off a bridge than use that buggy-ass piece of shit. I used to use Kdenlive back in 2014 and 15, and it was buggy as hell and horrible. And I tried it again in 2022, and it just made me want to jump off a bridge. Like, that shit is so bad. It's so fucking awful. It's like, I can't even begin to tell you how awful this piece of software is. Like, in 2022, you can't... They have audio plugins like a compressor that won't even show you live how much gain reduction you're getting. And you can't use other audio plugins. Like, you can't use other VST plugins for audio. The entire interface of the program is just such dog shit compared to something like Vegas or Resolve. It's so fucking bad. And Resolve is free too. You don't even have to pay to use Resolve. You can get Resolve for free. The normal version is really not that nerfed, but it's... So, and yeah, the thing is, I'm totally fine having an integrated GPU. It's not like I'm doing fancy schmancy editing, but for some reason, DaVinci Resolve does not give you the option in Windows. I mean, in Linux, you don't even have the option of using it with the integrated Intel Iris. So I could get another laptop that has a dedicated GPU that would allow me to go back to using Linux, because I'm not using something other than DaVinci Resolve. I'm not using Kdenlive. Like, fuck that. Again, rather, I can't do that shit to myself. But I could use something. But then I'm buying a laptop from a company that doesn't give me a schematic. So at that point, it's like, which poison pill is more important? Is it more important that I use an open source operating system, or is it more important that I am seen in public using a laptop that respects your ability? I mean, it respects your right to work on it and fix it and own it, get parts to it, get schematics and everything else. And it's like, fuck. These both suck. Like, I don't want to use Windows, but I don't want to buy a fucking ThinkPad again either, because they're getting shittier and shittier when it comes to that stuff. So that's been that. So yeah, I use Linux on my ThinkPad. I use Linux on my home desktop. I use Linux on my work desktop. All of my board repair videos that I do, the ones that I was doing in 2020, 2021, 2022, I was doing those on Linux. But my framework uses Windows because they need to make it with a GPU, you know? You need the studio version to use the GPU encoder. Yeah, but like, let's be honest here. The free version of DaVinci Resolve is fucking amazing, DXLin. Like, the shit that you get for free with that is just crazy. Integrated GPU that uses shared memory thing too, which diverts system RAM and the GPU bottleneck. Huh. Humor is the spice of life when everything tastes bland. Do you have an opinion on Sonos speakers? I think they're garbage. I think Sonos speakers are what you use to announce that, you know, the 4 train is running late today. You may want to take the 3 instead. I think those are all trash. Like, look up something like the Vandersteen Model 2. That was one of my first real speakers. I shouldn't say. The Axiom M22 was my first real speaker. I got those open box for $340 back in 2005. After that, I got a set of TLCS 3.6s for about $1,000. After that, I got a set of Vandersteen Model 2. The Vandersteen Model 2 for about $400 off of, I forget if it was Craigslist or AudioGone. I think it was Craigslist. Yeah, but I'm fairly certain it was Craigslist that I got them off of Mr. Harrington. I always wanted to... yeah, that was a cool set. And then I got the Vandersteen Model 3A Signature for about $1,100 used in 2011, and that's what I still have. But yeah, Sonos is trash. Bluetooth speakers, for the most part, they're not made for enjoying music. It's like a sound bar. They're not made for listening to music. They're not made for enjoying music. They're made for subway announcements. They're made for, you know, I don't know, like, order number 72, your waffle fries are ready. That's what they're for. They're not for music. They're not for music. And to play music through such a speaker is an abuse and a bastardization of the music you're playing through it. And in my opinion, it shows some level of disrespect towards the music itself that it's being played on that piece of shit. Like, I'm not going to listen to Tori Amos's Baker Baker through a Bluetooth speaker. It just bastardizes it, you know? I remember that one speaker company that had their devices of a recyclable which bricked the device for a landfill. Yeah, screw that. My speakers are dumb speakers. Was the guy who gave you the hammer earlier someone you knew or a rando stalker? You know, I don't even know or remember, but I say thank you for the hammer. I don't even know. I remember that one speaker company had their devices that are... Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't buy Sonos shit, man. Like, don't put your music through that. Don't destroy your music by putting it through a Sonos product. Like, seriously, listen to a Sonos speaker and then put it next to a Vandersteen speaker. Like, even, you don't have to get some expensive shit. You don't even have to buy them new. Get a set of Vandersteen Model 2s for $400 off of Craigslist, eBay, or Amazon. Just a good old Model 2. Phase coherent, flat frequency response, no cabinet resonances because they have almost no cabinet. And what little cabinet they have is usually boxed away in a manner with like where they avoid parallel walls for it. It's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah, Bose is shit too. Bose is garbage. Bose is trash. Yeah, but like a Vandersteen Model, even the Model 2, even their cheapest speaker, if you look, again, I hate stereophile with a passion. I hate the fact that they pretend that amplifiers and DACs actually have and cables have discernible characteristics. I avoid the review. I literally just skip through the measurements. But the measurements, like look at the step response of a Vandersteen Model 2 or a Vandersteen Model 3, and then compare it to speakers that cost 10 times as much. That shit is sexy. It really is. Like flat frequency response, but like a perfect step response. My God, oh man, that is truly sex on a stick, as Dave Jones would say. It is sex on a stick. Okay, I'm gonna build some more stuff. Probably play a podcast while I build. I don't know how unhappy my neighbors are gonna be that I'm using a hammer at 11 at night. You know what? I probably should stop doing that because my neighbors probably. I'm kind of curious, how well can you hear that hammer outside? Like, I'm not hammering the wall. I'm not hammering the floor. I'm hammering something inside of a house. My neighbors are nice. I probably shouldn't do that. The least I can do is not do shit like that. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Bye now. Put us outside and we'll tell. I don't want to put my phone outside and come back in here. It's a little bit too much New York in me. That's not something I'm willing to do and trust will end well. Yeah, I can get started on this shit in the morning, I suppose. See you later.